All right, welcome back. So let's move on to this next part here, the importance of consistent marketing in real estate. Actually, if you're a real estate agent, you can benefit a little bit from this segment because it's a matter of a mindset. It's a This one is majorly a mindset. Of course, it's skill set, but it's mainly a mindset. But of course, marketing, what is marketing? Basically, you need to reach out to your ideal clients. You need to create outreach campaigns for your ideal clients, okay? The ideal people you want to serve, okay? Every business, you have either a customer, you have a client, right? What else could you have? Well, you have people that you serve, you have people that you sell products to, right? So that comprehensive process, I didn't want to say comprehensive because honestly, it doesn't have to be that complicated, right? But understanding how you get your product, your services, even if it's as simple as information, something that can transform other people's life or lives, right? How do you get that to the end, the intent, the end person that's actually going to find it useful, right? Okay. So that process of getting a good, a service, even information from production to the person, right? That is core marketing. Okay, that's core marketing. And there's usually like three pillars in this respect, right? There's three pillars involved. Well, there's a process itself, right? There's the process. Sometimes we call that the media or the medium, right? But there's also the message. The message can you can use that message interchangeably as message, a product, a service, right? Something that's going to transform another person's life in a positive way, right? So that that message, and then you have the market. Market, you can also call that the people. The people is the people you're trying to create an outreach to. So think of MMM, message, medium, and market. Okay, so we have different ways we can describe that, but I call them the three pillars altogether. Okay, we call them the three pillars. There's process, people, right? Production. There are many ways, but the idea is there's three legs to making this happen. If you, let's keep it simple, okay? But when you're in a pro and that when you create a system to create that process that continuously markets a message, a product, a service, right, to a people through a process, that consistency right there will help you build trust and brand presence. I'm doing the same thing right now in real time. Okay? Just telling you straight up, I'm doing the same thing in real time. When people know you for something over time, you build trust, especially when you know what you're talking about, especially when you are good at what you're talking about. Well, how do you get good at what you're talking about? Well, if you keep doing it, you'll get better. Okay. Uh, Once upon a time, I was getting started, okay, in summertime of 2005, right? So it took me maybe about 3 to 6 months before I kind of knew the terminologies. Then I started doing the business, and then it became second nature, right? All of that equates to trust and building presence and brand presence over time. Okay. Now, in this time and age, contrary or maybe as opposed to what I used to do, which it still works by the way, called direct mailing. I used to leak letters and stick them, lick them so that you can, well, I hate to say it that way, but sometimes, after a while, you can't keep leaking. You have to use water, and then you stamp the letter and then we send those letters out. Okay. It still works. What really does not work when it comes to marketing in any business is lack of consistency. Okay, I'll tell you, if you market only one time, that's not going to work. If you market just for 1 week, it's probably not going to work. If you market just for 1 month, it is probably not going to work. I'll tell you what's going to happen. You probably will get frustrated saying things like, oh, you tried it, it didn't work. Okay. Why? Because you're lacking consistency. So, what am I talking about here? The importance of consistent marketing in real estate. So, again, the first encounter that people have with you is not going to make them do business with you, even if they're meant to do business with you. Well, most people will not do business with you. That's the reality. Okay, why? But it's competition. There are other people doing your business. Even though this business of wholesale real estate is highly not competitive, there are a lot of noisemaker, but that's just that, noisemakers. But in terms of people who actually know what they're doing and can actually deliver results, close deals, it's not that many people, and it will never be that many people. You know why? Because it requires commitment and consistency. Okay, precisely because of that reason. Most people are looking for quick, get rich quick opportunities. Usually, you know what happens? They end up losing their money. That's the reality. All right. So, because this is a process that's going to take you. My first deal, I closed my first deal in 6 months. Okay. And the way I do the math for me, again, it's a mindset thing, is that every time I stop and I take a break and then I have to come back again, I have to start that 6 months all over again. That's the way I see it. I'm going strictly by my story. Okay, but that was my experience. I was consistent for 6 months. By that 6 months, I had 4 deals in the pipeline. I closed one, I made $10,000, and then the other three, I was working with a mentor. I kind of learned as I was already doing the first one by myself. I learned that hey, it's best to do with a mentor. So I kind of like put the three with the mentor, mentorship partnership, if you will call it. That's the same model I'm using right now. And then we did the deal together and we split money 50-50. Okay. So multiple channels of marketing. You need multiple avenues to put the words out there, because again, more than ever before, this attention span is at all-time low. Okay, so you have to be really, really good at getting people's attention and staying in their face and just continue to grind and grind and grind. And it's not that much of a big deal. I just need you to understand that that's what plays out. But once you know it, you set up a few systems and you get the system running. But the idea here is multiple channels of marketing. So, what do I mean by multiple channels of marketing? Well, again, you can spend as low as $25 per day. The idea, the marketing message, remember I said message, right? Message to a market. Message, market. That message can turn into a product similar to like this tripod stand or this microphone or a service. Maybe you mow people's lawns, right? Just think of it as a message. You're trying to get a transformational message across to a market. When they get hit with this message, it can change their life. So, for example, when the message is we buy houses, somebody has a piece of house that they don't want anymore, right? They don't want the property. It's just the property, as much as everybody say a house is an asset, it's a liability for them. Okay. So when that house becomes a liability for them, and you say we buy houses, you show up and you go through the process of marketing, acquisition, and disposition, and now they no longer have the house anymore. Their life has been transformed. So now you help that person out, you made some money, you help an investor get a piece of project to work on, and then they put the project on the market after they complete it, and then they made money from selling it at the full retail price, and you're making the market. Why? Because you knew how the business worked. You spent $25 per day getting the simple message we buy houses out there. So these days we use paid ads on social media through channels like your feed. When you log into social media and you see those feeds, yeah, back in the days it used to be a sign on a pole, on an electric pole, right? It simply says we buy houses. There's some kind of variations of that, right? So a feed or stories, you went into somebody's profiles and you see their story, or it shows up on the top of the feed on the social media or reels or storylines or videos on YouTube, or or while somebody was reading an article on the internet, suddenly they see the message and they happen to have a property on a list spenders list. That's called marketing. So the idea is consistent marketing here. You want to be consistent. Why? Because that builds trust and brand, and people need multiple exposures in order to do business with you. So they used to say study shows 7 times exposure. I think it's more. But I don't think it matters because we have AI and digital marketing to help us get the message out there as many times as there is interest. The key thing here is we have AI to help us find those interests and continue to help us stay on top of the mind of our target market. So all of that, we get into all of that as time goes on, but that's the importance of consistent marketing in real estate. If you are going to do just a good, like somebody's like, let me just try it out. If you want to do that, it's probably not going to work for you. I ask people to commit at least 1 year into this. It took me 6 months to close my first deal. I asked you to commit 1 year into it. You're spending $25 per day. That comes out to a little bit less than $10,000 in a year. If you close one deal, you make $10,000 or more. It pays for itself. Now you have marketing funds. You reinvest back into the game, and you keep doing the same thing over and over again. And again, PropStream kind of make everything easy. They have tutorials that you can follow. They have multiple channels. You can actually do postcards. You can skip trades if you want to call people. I don't recommend that, but they have a simple process you can follow. The key thing in all of this, whatever strategy you decide to use for marketing, you need to be consistent, and you have to do it for, my opinion, for 1 year. Okay, I don't know why you would want to build a business that's thriving and want to work on it for less than a year. I wouldn't understand it anyway, but that's how it works. All right, so do me a favor, hit like, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when I drop new videos. I'm gonna move on to the next segment right now. I'll be right back.